Ed here with a Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Sony SEL 100 to 400 millimeter G Master lens. Now, this just arrived today. It retails for around $2,600 US. You can see I've got my A7R Mark II right here with the 70 to 200 f4 attached to it, which has been my go-to lens when it comes to telephoto, simply because really there was not a better native FE, that is full frame E-mount lens option, until today. And here it has arrived. It is a monster box. You can see I've got the A6300 and A6500 right next to it because it's compatible, of course, with both of these cameras as well. So I've got a happy little family when it comes to telephoto prowess now with this arriving. Let me go ahead and give you a quick look at the box. Again, this is a large lens. It does not have you're not getting a fast piece of glass here, but you are getting a very capable one. And when it comes to, again, native FE glass, nothing had this reach until today, literally. And it does have optical steady shot, for those of you that are wondering. Originally, I had thought this lens was going to be, the assembly was going to be completely all the elements internalized, but as we all know, it is not. It is a pumper, so to speak. So paperwork right here on the left. I am moving the box out of frame because there's nothing else to show. As you can see, Sony has included, which I think is a nice thing, a relatively large carrying case. Generally, when you deal with Zeiss or G Master glass, that is the tendency. And since this thing is a bit of a beast, it makes sense that it would have a case of this nature. Why make you go out and buy one when it should be included? So, zipper there. We've got a loop strap right there, or zipper I should say. Everything is ready to go. We've got a strap right here. Collar is already attached. Ginormous lens hood, as you may have imagined. And the whole reason that I have the 70 to 200 f4 there was to really demonstrate the practical size difference between these two products. Again, you're not getting a constant f4 on this lens, but you are getting a far more dynamic reach. So there it is. Really not that, gigantic for those of you that were concerned. You can see it right here. I'm going to bring out the A7R Mark II. And you can see them side by side. Granted, this is not, well, you can now see them side by side. Granted, this is not mounted, but you can see it's not that much larger. Let me go ahead and remove the lens hood from the 70 to 200. And remember, the 70 to 200, completely internal, whereas, again, with this lens, as you turn, and push out, you're really pushing out, quite literally. But that's not a bad thing if performance, of course, is there, and that is what I am expecting. The diameter of the lens, it is substantially thicker, but in terms of length, when not extended, very close. Weight, definitely heavier than the G Series f4. But of course, if you got the G Master f2.8 version of the 70 to 200, you already have a massive lens there. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like on body. But in terms of controls, basically all the same stuff that we already have on the 70 to 200 in terms of turning on and off your optical steady shot, your focus control, whether you want it manual or auto, and of course whether you want to switch between infinity or full range in terms of focus, and then mode, and then the lock buttons as well. And as I mentioned before, the actual collar, which is definitely a good thing to have with a lens of this size. I also want to point out you've got the 77 millimeter thread here, for those of you wondering what the thread size is. But let's go ahead and get the f4 off. And again, this is the A7R Mark II. This is not the A9, which this lens was announced alongside, and for obvious reasons. I mean, if you want to shoot, I'm not saying it's ideal for sports because I haven't had a chance to shoot with this lens yet, but if you wanted to, obviously the reach is definitely a very good thing to have. And there you can see it locked on the A7R Mark II. The A9 is slightly larger, but the feel, the look, fully extended right there at 400 millimeters. You're definitely going to get a little bit of a workout, but the whole point is that when it comes to mirrorless, when it comes to an interchangeable lens system, you are looking at the cream of the crop here. The only way it could get better is the A9, and that really only comes to, of course, the autofocus system. More megapixels here, better dynamic range here, better low light performance than the A9. But again, this is an unboxing all about the lens you're looking at right here, which I'm just really happy to finally see a true telephoto offering in the FE lineup. We had 300 millimeters, but now we've got 4. And that's part of the reason that I was happy sticking with my A7R Mark II. When pricing softens for the A9, that's when I'll consider pairing it up with this lens. Again, if this lens performs as well as what I've already seen in early testing. But that pretty much rounds things out. The lens hood, for those of you that are wondering, does make the lens hood for the f4 70-200G that I had on there look like a baby. And that's because, quite frankly, it is a baby compared to it. There you have it. I mean, considerably larger. But again, that's because the lens is considerably larger. And it's got a locking mechanism as well. But overall, I'm very excited to have this, if you haven't been able to tell through the course of the video, because I do think it's going to change the way I can use my Sony mirrorless lineup of cameras. Because, of course, if I throw this on the A6500, which is more compact, yes, it will be more off-balanced, but I will actually have greater reach because, of course, you've got the crop factor of it being APS-C instead of full frame, so this is going to be more than 400 millimeters, and with a better autofocus system than I've got here with the A7R Mark II. That's another reason I didn't fully invest. I didn't jump on board with the A9. I'm not a sports photographer. I'm not a wedding photographer, so this is more than enough kit right here, back to back, for me. And of course, I have other lenses, but we'll see if this will be a requirement anymore, even though it is a faster piece of glass. This does undercut it significantly with its range. But that's pretty much it. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.